Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Freethinkers Fireside. We put the human in humanist, one cozy chat at a time. My name is Helen, also known as Hellsbells. And tonight, because it's Tuesday, and I was like, I'm going to make book more guests. So welcome, Cynthia McDonald, back to the show. Hi, Cynthia. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, Helen. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm hydrating. So
You're
sure.
excited. You're hydrating. That's important. Drink more water, guys.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Or other things like wine.
Or things, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry. All right, there we go. I'm good. I'm a professional. Anyway, hi Kelly. Anyway, before we get started on the topic, for people that are going to watch this in the future or are arriving, who are you?
Who am I? Well,
who are you?
Who am I? Right? That's a good question. Depends on the day.
All right, who are you today?
Well, today, I am Cynthia McDonald. I am the lead affiliate of the Black Non-Believers in Chicago, Illinois, or Black Non-Believers Chi-Town. I am also the host of the YouTube channel that is fairly new. And guess I hit a milestone today, Helen.
What did you hit?
I hit 100 subscribers today.
Yay!
So thank you guys for all who tuned in to subscribe to my channel. And my channel is actually called The Roots Matter. And I talk about news and politics and the intersectionality of religion from a skeptical humanist position, secular, all that other great stuff. That's hosted by a person who happens to be a woman and who also happens to be Black, who also to be me. So there you go.
Right. All the things.
All the things, yes. So
exactly.
Yeah, so that's who I am today.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm glad that we've established your identity and where people can find you. So
yes.
We've had lots of conversations over the 4 years we've known each other.
Yeah.
On a whole bunch of different shit. So why did you for tonight wanted to talk about progressive politics especially?
Well, I know that when we were discussing okay, Cynthia, you're gonna come on the show and we need things to talk about. I said, are you sure? And you were like, yes, we actually need guidance because reasons. And I was like, okay, well, I am that chick that's often on the interwebs talking about, news and politics. So, you was like, well, let's talk about progressive politics. And I was like, cool, sounds up my alley. And I believe that one of the reasons why I think it's an important topic to talk about right now is that we are in a time period where we are currently under an authoritarian fascist regime. And a lot of the reasons why we are here is because those who should have given a flying flip flarn didn't, amongst other things. And or they have fallen into a rabbit hole of being snatched up by the right and have that happen to influence their politics and their leanings. I mean, hell, you and I have even seen people that we've known within the community as of recent be radicalized, I would say, to the right. So when you have one narrative, it's important to develop and make stronger a counter narrative. And I believe that, really pressing and pushing policies that happen to be progressive, getting involved in politics in some shape, way, or form is what we should do, especially those who of us call ourselves humanist. call ourselves, less progressive, whatever. If we want to see a better change, it's going to involve us being involved.
Right. And I think that, and I'm guilty of this, so I'm not like throwing shade or anything, but like it's very easy to do it here.
Yeah.
Because like if someone calls you a butthead or swears at you or uses slur, you can completely ignore them. You don't know them, and you can be like, "Well, this person's a piece of shit," and you don't have to, have that as much emotional engagement as you would like in the public sphere. Like if at a civic center or something like that, where you're talking about progressive politics, and you're going to face people that you can't shut off. So I think it's for those of us like, and like I said, I'm guilty of this because it seems a little daunting to go into your community and like and want to see the change that you want, but you want somebody else to do it. And you'll follow along. Like I can't volunteer anybody for this. Fuck.
How dare I? Yeah, I think it is. Well, in social media, especially those of us who happen to be talking heads on YouTube now, right? It's
Yeah.
easy for us to create our own echo chambers. It's easy for us to gather and create communities where we are basically like-minded. The right does it, the left does it, the centers do it, everybody does it, dogs do it, people do it, everybody does it, right? Everybody does it.
Right.
But I think that where the rubber meets the road is having the wherewithal to kind of step outside of that box in order for you to, go into spaces. And I mean, like, and even I'm going to preface the next sentence that I'm saying with a caveat to say that, you need to be careful when you do this. But, it takes something to actually go into spaces where it's not necessarily going to be, conciliatory to people who think like you, but still have the wherewithal to say that this still needs to be discussed. This still needs to be brought up. This needs to be something that we consider, and not be afraid to have that conversation with somebody who doesn't think like you. And we even saw it like today, like the breaking news that the bipartisan bill to release the Epstein files actually was voted, unanimously by the House and the Senate today. It's going to the president's desk today. Now, all the back stuff that's happening is one thing, but I think that what's important is that you right now have a Congress that is extremely dichotomous to each other.
Right.
I've never seen in all the years that I have been living, or or that I have been reading about politics per se, that we have such extreme views from one end to the other, and extreme actions from one end to the other when it comes to elected officials. And there's a bunch of reasons for that we can talk about a little bit later. But a lot of times, especially with different bills that have come up as of late, people have voted on party lines unanimously. Every person, every senator voted to release the files. 427 Congress people within the House voted to pass the bill.
Right. Can't pass anything else, but they can do that.
Right. They can do that. And I mean, well, that, yes. And I would say that, so because people have been making this an issue, and it's been an issue for a while, and talking to their Congress people and raising their voices and saying this needs to be done and we need transparency, yada yada yada, you actually had a Congress that acquiesced more to the whims of the people than you did to the president. And even though like he came out recently saying that, oh, well, you can release the files. And of course, like we can conspiracy theory until the cows come home on that one. Right. But
Right.
but we already know that he was actively trying to make this thing no longer a thing. And he was also pushing other people within his party, to do the same thing. But actually having people who are on complete sides, different sides of the aisle, not just party wise, but
Mhm.
even on political ideology, actually come together and say, yeah, this is what we need to do. That's the thing that we, as who consider ourselves progressive, who consider ourselves as humanists, need to
Mhm.
take that and try to make it a thing going forward.
I agree. It's a very, like, because that's the thing, I think, like, everybody universally agreed, like, this needed to be done, and I'm surprised that it passes as high as it did. I'm like,
Mm.
well, I'm like, okay, like, somebody's sick of some bullshit. um, just saying. But and that's the thing that I find so a little bit frustrating, because you can agree on this, that like this needs to be released. Like, if anyone is doing terrible things, the public needs to know about it. That,
Mhm.
and people need to have accountability, and not only in the legal sphere, but in the court of public opinion.
Right.
Because you're a piece of shit, man. These
I
people are
mean,
not good people. But I think for, you know, another like everything else tends to be up for argument. Debating, like, how much do people really need to eat?
I mean,
Like,
yeah, that part. you know, yeah, that
those
was.
are the things they debate about.
Yeah, I mean
you know,
that.
and
Yeah, that was crazy. But go ahead, I'm listening.
I'm just saying, like, how much do we really need to eat to stay
Right.
alive?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, like, like I can live off of some of my flesh for a little while, but I'm more concerned about the children, the babies, things of that nature,
right.
um, because they would need to eat, right? I think that that's the part that we need. That's the that we have to really work on getting over,
Right.
because unfortunately, if we're specifically talking about the whole issue concerning social safety nets, especially with SNAP,
Mhm.
I mean, we have a pretty long history of this dog whistle concerning SNAP benefits and equating it to the quote unquote welfare queen.
Right.
You even had, as of late, videos going up completely created by AI of Black women going ham because they no longer have their SNAP benefits, and they're at the store and they get denied, and they start to do the angry Black woman thing, and
Mhm.
and like some people's like, oh my goodness, look at those people. And I was like, well, first off, that's AI, you dumb fuck. But
I love
I
you.
mean, I'm just saying, like, it says
You dumb
Sora
fuck.
going through the whole damn thing. Like, how do you not know that that is not fake? Oh my God. Anyway, so that's a dead ass giveaway. But, I think that, like, propaganda is a hell of a drug, because even though that we know per capita, the highest group that's actually on SNAP are white people. But this trope,
Mhm.
ever since that Black people was actually able to get SNAP, has actually been the dominating look of what SNAP benefits
The
are,
right.
which is like, the single Black mother with like 11 kids and refuses to go get a job because, the
She's
government is
raising 5
taking care
kids.
of her, because she's raising 11 kids, and,
Yeah.
and all this other stuff,
You don't got
right?
that type of time.
No, not really. I mean, like, and my whole thing is like, well, and I was watching like a video today, and one of the things that the content creator said is that a sign of a civilized society is the willingness of the government to take care of the constituents, which
Shocking
is,
to think, but
like feeding them, I mean,
basic guys.
like, how dare you not? I mean, crazy. Like, how dare you want to eat, Helen? How dare you?
I know.
I mean,
And
and
like,
you want,
not eat the garbage that they tell you to eat,
yeah,
like,
like you
like,
actually want, like, fresh foods and stuff, that you want to actually have a mixture of things that are not all processed. You actually want to go to
yeah,
the store and be able to purchase food that won't, I don't know, make you leave the earth prematurely, right? Like, this is something that you want to do.
maybe you won't get microplastics in your life.
Or
Those
I,
types of things.
yeah, like, maybe you just like won't, like, leave the place with salmonella because like your meat been sitting around for like 18 trillion years. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like
Right,
that.
exactly.
I mean, like it would be nice, to have those things. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, industrialized countries who actually say that they they care about their people, or they think
Mhm,
about their people, like they have social safety nets in place
mhm,
so that, those who happen to be, um who don't have as much as like others, have a have a go-to, so that they won't be hungry, and their children won't be hungry. And
mhm,
like, I look at Scandinavian countries who, not only will they feed you, they will house you, they will educate you, they will they and will give you
mhm.
health care, even if you are not
Basic
necessarily a
stuff.
citizen. I mean, like, I was watching, like, I don't know if it's like Sweden or Norway or whatever, where they have like a fairly, sizable refugee population, and they
Mhm,
actually purchase and build housing for them, not only for them, but other constituents do happen to live there. So if they don't
right.
necessarily, like, have a home to go to, the government say it's okay, we have a home for you to be in, and it's safe, and it's clean, and things that are in it work.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, like that, like I think I was talking to John about this when he was on, this is just a sidebar on this issue, is that like we have homes that people
Mm,
have built that are just sitting there,
yeah.
and the bank is just not making any money off of it. It can't, and I'm like, okay, listen, motherfuckers, like maybe I'm just saying, the people that are on the street, would you get them a house, just a house, so they feel safe, and then maybe have community outreach so they can get access to food and clothing and basic needs, um mental health care, maybe some addiction care, and then we can talk about, how people are contributing to society. Because I think if you're the type of person to help someone like that, I think you are contributing to society because you
I
want the
agree.
society to do better.
I agree.
And some countries have figured that out.
I agree. I mean, like, both you and I are, within the social service field.
Mhm,
And we have, like, spent time with folk who have been, in a place where they needed additional assistance. And
mhm,
and I remember having member or patients or clients or whatever you want to call them nowadays, like, there's, every time that you go to a different organization, they always have like the word that they call clientele, right?
yep, right.
But regardless of what the word is, you are going to have people who are living at or below the federal poverty line. I mean, like, in the United States alone, it's like over 35 million people right now, in a country of like
Mhm,
almost 300 million, are living at or below the federal poverty line. We they need homes, they need good food, they need health care, they need systems to work for them. And
yep,
and a lot of those people who are at or below the federal poverty line are employed. And
yeah, mm,
even if we're looking at homes that happen to be open and empty, it's not
mm,
necessarily because people want it to be that way, they're mostly like that is because when my parents purchased a home, my parents purchased their first home at $25,000.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, right. A 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, full backyard home, right?
I'm just
Now,
like adjusting for inflation. I'm like,
yeah, yeah,
like,
right. Yeah,
because
yeah,
I have I have three bedrooms, 2 baths,
yeah,
and a big backyard, and I
yeah,
have a sizable little lot.
yeah, yeah.
$305,000.
I mean, yeah, so like six, 7, 8 times as much as what my parents, purchased, for a comparable home, right? I'm pretty
Right.
sure like you have, I mean, you're in Florida, so you're like you have more land than I do, but I mean, but still, like a full backyard,
Yeah,
able
we have
to
a
build
whole
on your
garden in the
home.
backyard.
Yeah, I grew up with a
Yeah.
garden in my backyard too,
Yeah.
and I still, use it to this day. I mean, so that things happen for $25,000, right? In
Right.
1969. Same home now within our purview is going for close to $300,000,
Mm-hmm.
for the same damn house.
Right.
Because like the housing market, especially when it comes to the cost of homes, is overinflated. And nowadays, because income and jobs and pay have not kept up with those things, nobody can afford to buy a house.
Right.
And
But the rest of your tax. Yep. Yep.
yeah,
You still got to pay the taxes.
yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? So like, and even now within, even though like, you purchase a home from like, like over 50 years ago for
Mm-hmm.
$25,000, and you still have that home today, you still have to pay property taxes on it. And you do even have like seniors who lose their homes because they can't, because like their income level goes exponentially down, because like, they may be working on a small pension plus like social security, and they're trying to
Mm-hmm.
keep up with all the bills. And you, because like to stay in that bad boy, you still got to pay your taxes, you have to pay your power, you have to pay for your gas, etc., 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 like living expenses, right? So there's
Right.
still that whole problem with affordability, which, all of a sudden, like, Donnie D decided that he just learned that word, and it's a beautiful word up there with groceries. Did you know that?
I know.
All right.
Groceries.
I mean, yeah, like grocery is such a beautiful word. Not used quite often, but it's a beautiful word. I love with affordability. Like I just discovered it and I invented affordability, right? So
Yeah, he is so smart. He's 15
I
new
know
words that we
he has
already knew.
he has the best
He's ahead of
words,
the game.
Helen. He's ahead of the game. He has the best words. But I
He
mean, but
does
like,
all the
but
best
even
words.
all the best words. But even before he got into the whole body politic, we still have that same issue concerning affordability. I mean, like, even remember what happened back in 2008 with the housing bubble, and like, these
Yep.
banks that were offering these subprime mortgages with these balloon inflated rates, like after you've been in your home for like 3 years, all of a sudden, like your rate, your APR goes up like, like 100%. It doubles, it triples, you know what I'm saying? So and
Mhm.
then you have like a lot of people who are like losing their homes, and next thing you know, you suing banks, and then the banks get a bailout, but Main Street don't get a bailout. And and now we have like this inventory because people are saying we don't have enough houses. I was like, no, we have enough houses, we just don't have enough people who can afford to be in the goddamn house. So what
Right.
does that tell me? That it should be incumbent, if the federal government actually, had a clue that they need to be moving on making policies to make properties affordable, to even take like some of these properties and like, create section 8, so that people are
Mhm.
able, who qualify depending on like their income levels and things of that nature,
Mhm.
to be able to get into these homes and not be demonized for it.
Right.
Not
And
be
I think that's the
demonized.
thing.
Hmm.
Well, and I think that even within our own circles, there is a bit of, well, I don't want to say a little bit. Like there's always classism, but there is some classism that even happens with our in our spheres.
Oh yeah.
There's an automatic judgment of someone that is in Section 8, and I don't think it's malicious in any way, but it's just a narrative they were taught that, people that are on, any sort of assistance, whether it be like I have a couple of caregivers at my work that live in Section 8 housing, and they're really hard workers, and they have young children, and it is a struggle, And when I hear like those people don't, they're lazy, I'm like, you haven't listened, you don't know the people I know, like single Black moms that are just like have to work, are hustling, they're in Section 8 housing, and they're still keeping their sense of humor. Like that is hard shit.
Listen, I mean, like, one of my jobs was setting up home care. Yeah, I know that's something that you do now. And
Mhm.
and talking to home care workers, I mean, like, those are some of the hardest working people, and they don't get paid nearly, not even a penance of what it's worth.
Yep.
Not at all. I mean, like, for you to get up and leave your own home, leave your children, leave your family, in order for you to take care of somebody else who, needs help to take care of themselves. Not only are you cooking, you're cleaning, you're getting groceries, you're helping with medication, and you're also providing companionship for that person, because more than likely they're
Right.
elderly and they really don't have,
Yep.
like, like a family net in order to be with them, and that's the reason why you're there. And they're not
Right.
getting paid a lot of money, and depending on what state you're in, I mean, like, God forbid you be in a red state. Those people make ridiculous amounts of money, like, from doing home care. I mean, Illinois, there, a lot of like home care agencies, and also, if you do, like, personal assistance with the state, you are guaranteed a certain amount of money, right? But even with
Right.
the hours that they give you, that's still not enough. It's like, I think, like the lowest that I've seen right now, just now, it's like $17 an hour. But what does it say for a
Mhm.
person who is doing home care and they're not working a 40-hour week? Because
Exactly, and we can't guarantee a 40-hour week
you
either.
cannot, and you
That's
cannot.
that is the nature of the beast.
Yes,
And these and
exactly.
they're hustling. They are
Yeah,
hustling, and it's
yeah,
just, and it's one of those things that it's like, okay, if you're hustling and you still can't afford basic needs, there's something very wrong. And I'm like, and here, and this is the thing, I'm not saying that, people that, are that don't, if they don't hustle, they don't deserve basic human rights and needs.
hmm,
Like, I'm not saying that, but
hmm,
I'm just using this as an example because you have to hustle.
yeah,
Because the idea is like you have to prove that you will be a good wage slave. So we want to
yeah,
make sure that you're going to be able to do that. And yeah, it's just a piece of capitalism.
yeah.
Like, I'm not saying any particular company is doing this, but it's just it's its own monster,
Well,
and
I it's beyond like the company, because here's the thing: the company is going
yeah,
to do what the institutions allow it to do. You know, I
right.
I mean, like, you think about, again, if you look at the administration, they talk about deregulation. That is just like a dog whistle to say that, hey, I'm just going to give you carte blanche to basically be exploitative, like, with your labor force, because that's what is happening. You remove regulations. Like, I remember, I was talking to, a person, and they asked me, because, they asked me, like, so are you anti-business? Because I said that I'm a socialist. And I said, no, I'm not anti-business. I'm
Mhm.
anti-exploitation. And when you remove a lot of the regulations, especially when it comes to your labor force, you happen to start exploiting them. You don't pay them enough. You don't give them enough hours. You skimp on, some of the basic benefits that they should have in order for them to survive. Even though that I personally don't believe that employers should be on the hook to give their employees health care. I believe in a
I know.
single payer
Yeah.
system, and I think it's absolutely appalling to tie healthcare to, being to having a job, because
Right.
if you hate your job, I know a lot of people who end up staying in jobs and be exploited by them only because of, not wanting to leave their benefits, right?
Right.
But at the same time, like, if the entities that are dictating what the policy is going to be on how you run your business, and they are not putting in certain things that needs to be in place, you're basically just going back to the Gilded Age, where
Right.
you are creating and maintaining a class of people who have this huge gap between their employees. They're like millionaires and billionaires, and you are and you're still living at or below the federal poverty line. What does it say about a country where like, they still have millions of people, that are living in poverty, millions of people who are homeless that are working? I remember reading a story. I don't even know if we talked about this, like, Helen, back in the day, but I remember specifically reading a story, and I was like contemplating if I wanted to put this on, when I was doing production work for that other entity that we were working for, right?
Right.
And it was about a lady who was a social worker in Seattle, Washington. She was making about $72,000 a year. Do you know this woman could not afford an apartment where she was living, and she was living out of her car
That's
with her
insane.
mother?
Oh my God. That's insane. That's insane. $72,000, you can't afford property. That's nuts. And so what is it? Is it the welfare queens, or is it like, or is the one making $72,000, depending who you are economically wise, and inflation has not caught up to, you haven't caught up to inflation or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it's really gross because, and then again, it's that thing about the classism, about, and who is deserving of, any sort of benefit that the government's going to give them. And it's like everybody is,
Yeah,
and
everybody is worth living a decent life.
yeah, not that hard. But I think that for a lot of, for a lot of people, it is, we're taught that having a home is a privilege, and I'm like, why can't it be a right? Like I get a place to live. I can put my head in, I
Yeah.
can be protected from the elements. You know?
I agree with that. I mean, like, I think about like the first 10 amendments of the Constitution, just even reading at Ways to Humans comment about, having to basically be like super creative, selling things in your house just for you to eat and like sell your medication in the richest country in the
Yep.
world, right?
Right.
And having, and even though, like, you're working, you're if you are married, your spouse is working, all, like, you bringing in money into the house, but at the same time, even if you got a house, you still have to rob Peter to pay Paul in order for you to be able to
Yep.
stay in that bad boy, right? Or, like,
Right.
you have to put yourself like so underwater just to get the damn thing in the first place. And I mean, like, I would just say, like, even like making $72,000 a year for a single person is would have been pretty decent if the issue concerning affordability of a home and food and a car and all this other different things is a thing. Like, remember talking to one of my girlfriends the other day? Her and her husband just bought a new car, and I was just like, hey, just curious, what's the car note? And it was like damn near $1,000 for a brand new car. I was like, what?
What?
What? What? I was like, okay, so after I had like 5 strokes and 3 heart attacks, and then also, this fate to just hearing that news in the first place and came to, I was like, girl, that's rent. What are you telling me right now? I mean, and this is for a brand new car, that was not even like the full bells and whistles of the first car that her and her husband actually test drove in the first place. I was like,
wow.
I was flabbergasted, and I know that like I was thinking, because like I started a new position, and I was just thinking to myself, because like my car is old. I got to do a lot of maintenance.
I've been telling myself I need a new car this year. I've been like
Man.
Latoya. I love her. I love Latoya, but
Yeah.
she ain't pretty. She runs great. She's hustling. But she ain't pretty.
Okay, so Latoya is your get up and go. Mine is Diana, right? Diana. Like I listen. I am grateful for Diana. Diana has been with me since 2016. Bless her heart. You know what I'm saying? Like she is. I've been
with Latoya since 2009.
See,
no, sorry, 2000. No, 2013. I got this 2013, 2014. Got this car. But it's a 2009 car. So
okay. So yeah. So I purchased Diana in 2016, and it was in 2005, right? So Diana's like 20 now. And bless Diana's heart, she's still kicking. And I felt so bad, Helen. I'm about to tell on myself. You ready for me telling myself?
Okay, ready. Tell me, girl.
So I have been like, so my new job is I work 100% from home. I don't have to go anywhere, and like my son's school is only like a couple blocks away from my house, right? It's cooler now, right? So like I drive him to school. And we barely got home a couple weeks ago. I don't even think it was a couple weeks ago. I think it was just like a week ago, because I forgot to put gas in the damn car. I've been driving it for days without putting gas. I'm like, I'm not going far. I'm only going a couple of blocks. I'm only or if I like go to like we have like a little grocer that's like African, Caribbean, and Latina market that's not too far from my house, and it takes all of like 3 minutes to drive up there, because it's close. Right. So like I'm just going there like, I'm just gonna buy a few things and come home. I don't need to put gas in the car. Girl, I ran out of I ran out of gas. That car, and that car sat in front of my house for 3 days without no gas in it, because I couldn't get it started. And I had to beg. I called my sister.
I've had enough of this shit. Right. Like, I'm done.
Right. My car was cussing me out. I could like under its breath, like, bitch ain't put no fucking gas in me, knowing I can't ride without no goddamn gas. I was begging people to take me up to the gas station.
We both had car things, because last week I go some mornings I start with Starbucks before I go to work, so I wanted to go get coffee, and then I walked down. This guy's like, "Hey, your tire's really flat." Now, I had missed work because of the fibroid issue, and I didn't want to miss another day. So my bright idea, I'm just gonna ride home on a flat tire and have my roommate bring me to work. It's only like 2 miles, but as soon as I got home, the tires completely shredded.
Oh wow!
I told my husband, and he's like, "Is your wheel bent?" And I'm like, "I don't know." It only cost us $67 to get a new tire. But it was like, because he's like, "I really wish you would just come home." I called me or called Connor to come and get you at the Starbucks, and we leave your car there. And I'm like, "Yeah, but I was scared that I missed so much work, and I wanted to show up." And I was in ADHD logic brain. So I was like, let's do it this way.
Right.
So
I mean, like,
I don't drive on a flat tire, kids.
And actually put gas in your car, people. Two
things your car needs.
Right.
Tires and
and gas. That part. Yeah. But wait. Oh no, I'll do you. I'll even one up you one. even though this has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now.
Okay.
I one up you. I bought a gas can with this crazy highfalutin top that I could not get off.
Okay.
And I had to call one of my friends and say, me being a girl, I don't know how to work my gas can. Could you please come and take it off and put the gas in my car?
I'm awesome. I love that. I do all the time. I'm like, I need a man.
Yeah.
I just need one.
I need one. I need a man right now.
Can't do it. I'm a weak woman.
And
I'm a very weak woman. It's the wandering womb.
Yeah.
It's the womb.
Yes.
It moved.
Yes. Yes. I know nothing.
No thoughts.
Right. Yeah. No, please come save me, oh man, and help me.
I know. Like well, this is the thing though, is that like I can feel like a damsel in distress if I can't like if I need a man, I put a new tire on my car. Mm-hmm. I am in distress.
Yes. Yes. I mean, like how, even like, how long that like we've both been driving, cars and still need like a guy to come and say, please save me from myself. Cause at, from years old, I'm still running out of gas. Who does that?
Your car is reflecting your body, Cynthia. That's what's going on. We're all running out of gas.
I know. Right. Right. Yeah. Moving on.
So back onto the car thing. Like, so you've been driving, like, because I was thinking too that I want to get a new car this year, and I hope to get. I'm going to find out tomorrow if I got the position that I, as manager for work. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, I would like to get a new car next year. I really would. I really want. I better get. I want to get a hybrid because I drive so far. Because I would drive 360 miles a week in that car to get to work and go home. Mm-hmm. So need something that will last because she will run for like Latoya's like. I got 248,000 miles. Like, fuck you. I'm going to keep going. But she ain't pretty. And I wasn't pretty. Mm-hmm. But then like conceptualizing, okay, I'm like, okay, at the budget, I have to figure out like what's going to work for us financially. I have to think about any future expenses that might come up that I'm not thinking about, and all that type of shit. Yeah. Just get a car.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that like, that's where a lot of us are at these particular days. Like, we need things in order for us to function in society. Like, having a vehicle that works, because not all of us actually happen to live in a place where public transportation is like as connected. And even in a place like Chicago, where we have buses and trains, planes and automobiles, you name it, we got it. Mm-hmm. Where you are in the city, let alone if you're in a suburb area, would be a determining factor if you have access to those things. And wow. I mean, because like if you happen to live, like, let's just say for instance, like on the north side, closer to the lake, you have the the L, which is like the elevated train. You have the you have buses, and you have like a lot of different stops in the area. So depending on that area, like you could possibly get away without having a car, right? Now, you come to my side of town, and I happen to live in a more residential area. It's more houses over here. It's a little bit more spread out. Mm-hmm. I mean, even though, like, yes, we do have buses, but the nearest train station is still about 4 or 5 miles away. It's, I mean, and it takes some time. Like you could walk if you feel like being like, that person. But what happens if you are living with a disability? What happens if you happen to be a senior and you can't get around as spry as you used to? All those different things you have to be, and then also you have to think about the time that it will take to commute from one using one apparatus of public transportation to another. The it can possibly take, depending on how quickly those buses run, that if you're even wanting to go to the train station to take you there, you do have them that will take you there. It's still, not as frequent coming as, like, let's say, for
Right.
instance, like, if you happen to be on the north side, which happens to be, less black and brown. So these are all the different things that you have to think about when you
Right.
are, living in the area. And of course, so I since I live on the south side of Chicago, I live in a more residential area where things are more spread out. I have a small child. I need a car. It's
Right.
it's not even
Right.
about, it would be nice if I could have. No, I need one. So
You need it. Like it's a necessity.
it's a necessity. It is absolutely a necessity to have a car. So I have to think about, like, all the different things that I can do to maintain this car, because because, like, at this particular moment in time, even though I would like to get something newer, more pretty, all the niceties, I can't even really think
Mhm.
about that right now, because I have to be more concerned about being able to have things available within my purview that I can afford, right? And I
Right.
can just, and again, like, I can just think about, like, even though, like, yeah, these are like the conversations, yes, that my parents had, but there was still a more concerted effort at that particular time period to offer or expand social safety nets in order to make life a
Right.
little bit easier for on people, right? And I mean, we can all thank Black people for that. Shout out to civil rights movement. So but even before, like,
Oh.
Martin Luther King died, after the signing of the
Mhm.
Civil Rights Act in 1964, the push was to make things affordable, to have people
Right.
have a living wage. I mean, they had operating bread basket, where, it was to expand food benefits to people who happen to be in poverty, and housing, and make, housing more affordable and available, and giving, people, no matter what their, their race, their gender, their religion,
Mhm.
etc., choice of where they live, and be able to
Mhm.
live there comfortably and affordably. I mean, like, so, and it was like an effort to do it, and then, Nixon came in with Lee Atwater and fucked all that up. But
I just
but
thought of
that
Nixon this morning.
mhm,
I thought of Nixon this morning because I was thinking about the drug laws or something, and I was like,
mhm.
that motherfucker, like,
Yeah,
because of the hemp thing being added into the big beautiful bill.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, like, any type of
So I
progressive
was
thing that
like,
we try to do in order for us to actually be able to move forward, completely rolled back.
yeah, I know, and it's which is because they and just so it's like people don't realize how close they are to being homeless.
Yeah.
For person dies, loss of income, you know, whatever it is, you lose that unless you got more money than you don't know what to do with homeless because you can't afford anything, and that's what's so scary because like when you have like a mortgage and things like that, you like I about the other day it was like I can't so much because part of us that still few, you know, to have certain, and it's very frustrating when you realize that because you are like, okay, I have to.
Oh, okay. I'm going to talk until Helen comes back. I think that she's just having some Wi-Fi issues.
Weird.
None of us are on now.
That was weird. I am
Okay,
sorry.
there we go. No, it's well, it was like a technical issues, but yeah.
Yeah.
Can you repeat what you were?
Well, we're back.
Can you repeat what you were saying before? Yeah, we're back. Yay! Can you repeat what you were saying before?
Hey, hi. I was saying about how, like, even for me, and there's 4 people in this house. And this is the type of thing, like, so many people are so close to being homeless, unless you got all, more money, what to do with, you're going to be marginalized.
Mm-hmm.
And depending what type of community you're in, it depends on who gets privileges and who doesn't. And then even the person that is getting the privilege, they're judged. They're like, well, you still got food stamps. And it's like, well, yes, because I have to eat, and so do my children, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's, unless you've walked that line, and I've done it because we were on public assistance when my kids were little, just to get basic foods. And we had to, and I was on Medicaid. I was on Medicaid for both my kids. Didn't see a bill. Thank you, early 2000s, New Hampshire, but a lot of everything was covered. And we've lost of that.
Yeah. And I mean, like,
and I think that
it's crazy that we have to think about healthcare for people who happen to be, poor or working poor, and they have to feel a certain way, or they're demonized for taking help in the first place, so they can afford to have children. The very thing that the right wing is saying that we don't have enough of, and that's the reason why we had to gut Roe v. Wade, right? And
how's that working for you guys?
Right, that part. I mean, yeah, FAFO right now. And I mean, like, it's because, like, it's insane to me where you would, make people feel bad for taking advantage of, like, Medicaid, so that they can, because, like, if they're going to have children, they can't afford basic health care on their own, or the company, especially like you were talking about having your kids was in the early 2000s. There was no Affordable Care Act at that time.
Right.
There was, either you had a job where they offered it, or you were on Medicaid. And if you were, and your job did not have to offer insurance, and your insurance, and if you were shopping on your own to get covered, if you had pre-existing conditions, there was no guarantee that they had to accept you.
Right.
So I mean, like, and that's just like basic shit, right?
Right.
Cover people who haven't, who happen to have hypertension before they come to your company, because trying to get their medication and they're paying out of pocket is not affordable for the majority of people who happen to be out here, right? Even if they may not necessarily be at the federal poverty line per se. Even if they happen to default in the so-called middle class, even though, like, I kind of feel like the middle class is not even a thing anymore. Because the middle class was
anymore.
I mean, like,
just like, what level are you in the suffering category?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Like, are you as at this particular point? It's not necessarily middle classes. It's more so like, how bad are you being shot in your ass right now? Okay.
Right.
Exactly. Either you getting it up the ass with lube or without lube. I mean, how is that going for you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're getting it.
Yeah. So, but you getting it Okay, and it don't feel good. Just saying.
Or you've used lube to try it out a little bit, so you're trying to figure out how to add more. Take a minute for a rub with it.
Like, what are you using? KY jelly or petroleum? Sorry, I do not kink shame. But anyway, we digress. Sorry, Helen, we will get on these tangents.
It's Helen's show. Sex will come up. Anyway.
Yes, all right, and it's really okay. But yeah, I mean, like, but yeah, that's the thing. Like, people have to choose now in things that they should not have to choose, whether to buy medication or buy food. They have to choose whether to have a roof over their head or have transportation so they can get to work. They have to choose whether, to skip a meal so that my kid can eat or not. I mean, like, all these different things that this should not be a thing in the richest country in the world. And, and a lot of it is because since our nation, before it even became a nation, was built on capitalism, and it was also built on oppression, and like capitalism automatically makes you create depressed groups because somebody got to be your scapegoat. Somebody got to bear the burden of your ills, right? So because we still have an overwhelming, very powerful portions of wealthy people who want to keep the status quo the way that it is, and also racism falls into it. Othering LGBTQI plus people, other marginalized people that the whole notion of even having universal health care is like a foreign thing. And again, you get the dog whistles all over again. But what about the welfare queen? What about the what about the the single Black mother who's going to take advantage of what the government is giving her? They're not going to work, they're not going to do this, and they're going to be living off the government for free, yada yada yada. And I mean, like, the class of people who gets the most assistance and who is basically, they're the welfare queens for real, are the billionaires. I mean, let's think about it. Just the other day, Helen, fucking Elon Musk became a trillionaire.
I know. I don't understand.
And
okay, you won capitalism.
But he is a $1 trillion. He is a trillionaire. More so, I mean, like,
should not exist.
No,
it should not exist, guys.
This should not even be a thing. Like, one person being a freaking trillionaire, like, really, like, that should not even be a thing. Billionaires should even be a thing. I'm wrestling with myself with millionaires, but billionaires and trillionaires should not be a thing. And
this should not be a thing. If this is the system we've decided that to figure out worth of things, we fucked up.
Man, but I mean, but if you think about it, but he is the single. He is a trillionaire because he is the person that holds the most government contracts ever. You are a multi-billionaire trillionaire because of welfare that you get from the government. And even though that,
insane.
Right. And I mean, like, so you talk about like somebody who looked like me, who has a child, who may take like some assistance. And like say for instance, like, my kid is 4. So like, I qualify for WIC. So if I get WIC,
right,
because my kid is 4, and just to help me offset the cost of like food and things of that nature, so my kid can eat, I would be considered a pariah off the system because I get assistance for my child. And it's even worse. So
we lost her. Hold on. She'll be back. I'll make sure of it. There she is. See, I knew it.
Okay, there we go.
Sorry,
Yeah.
you were revealing the secrets.
Yeah, I was right.
Like-
And then the government was taking me away. They're like, "Oh no, we can't have that black chick talking," you know. And they say I better check after this to make sure that my channel is still alive. But yeah,
It's a
I
black
mean,
woman
but
talking. Shut up, make her shut up.
right, exactly. Exactly. Black woman is talking. Shut her ass up right now. You know. Yes. I mean, but
Anyway,
like,
go ahead.
I mean, but you know, but the main reason why, like, you know, a lot of these different things that are demonized when it comes to social safety nets is because black people get them. Because for the very longest time, that was not the case. I mean, like the first person that got, like, you know, food assistance was back in the 30s, and she was a white woman. And black people could not take advantage of food assistance until 1965. And same thing when it came to housing subsidies and the possibility. Same thing even happened when it took for black veterans coming back from war, and they couldn't take advantage of the GI Bill, even though they defended their country when foreign enemies were threatening our way of life. You know, I mean, like,
and that's
it's a damn shame that when we're even talking about, like, you know, expanding social safety nets, making it tenable for all of us to be able to live affordable in the United States, even when you had like somebody like Zora Maldani, you know, talk about, you know, city-run grocery stores, or, you know, making housing affordable in New York City, or even making like the public transit fast and free. I mean, like, these were considered, like, you know, he's a communist and he's a Muslim.
Like,
and he's a foreigner, you know. So
yeah,
he's everything that's wrong. Everything that's wrong with the United States.
So
Get him
like,
out of here. I mean, matter of fact, talking about even revoking the man's like citizenship just because he was running off of things that people need.
That's the thing. But that's the thing. We have Elon over here with all the money, all the capital. Like, I can't even. There was this guy on TikTok a couple years ago, and he showed the average person like you and me, or like someone below the poverty line, all the way to Elon and rice. So he was doing, like, you know, like the average person looks to making around, like, you know, like if you're a teenager, you know, have your first job, all the way to, you know, how that wage works. Now, the richest people, like the top 10%, like they have like a little hill, you know, of capital. Elon has like just this huge thing of rice. So he's richer than all the people that are in the 10%. It's like, in your brain is just like, I can't fathom that, having that much money. One, I feel it's really gross. Like,
and you'll never spend it all. You know,
it's
won't.
impossible. Like, you should look up like stories. There's a Reddit of like what really, really rich people do with like hotels, you know, of people that work in these places. And like this guy, one time he rented an elephant. He was like at someplace in India, and asked to ride into this hotel on an elephant. Okay.
See,
while people carried big trays of lobsters and meats for him. Like, that's what he was doing to entertain himself, because he has too much money. Like,
listen, you know where that came from, right? You know where that came from, right?
Lobsters.
No, that whole scenario came from. Listen, dude was watching Aladdin.
Okay.
And they were singing "Make Way for Prince Ali." Say, hey, it's Prince Ali. And he said, great idea. Let's do this. Get my concierge on the phone. We're about to make this happen right now.
I'm like, some news reporter was talking about it, I think, but there's a red thread, and it's insane, because these, like, you're like, imagine working there. like the motherfucker is bringing an elephant. It's the fucking lobby.
Man, you know,
What
and
is
I
going
was,
on?
and when I was in college, I worked at a hotel. I worked the front desk. Matter of fact, I was in college working the front desk when Obama was a state representative in Illinois, and I would check him in from time to time. But you know,
Cool.
before he was who he is now. But yeah, I mean, but like I could just imagine being at the front desk and all of a sudden, you know, this dude come in like on a fucking elephant with like, you know, table like trays of like lobster and shit, like, you know, with the fucking dry ice coming out of it for, you know, for like shits and giggles and ambiance and right now. And then next thing you know, you got like the dancing Ala Bobby girls talking about make way for Prince Ali. Like, really? I would quit that night. I'm like, I cannot. You know, because this is the type of spectacle.
I would not be able to hold it. I'd be like, sir,
I would have gone to the back. I think it's like, okay, we are checking in great leader right now. I'm like, I can't help you.
Like, basically, I'm sorry, I'm out of spell slots.
Right.
I'm out.
Right. I am out. You listen, I'm sorry. You got me on a day when my give a damn was broke. Okay. So I don't give a damn about you. And I damn sure don't give a damn about that motherfucker that's walking around with a damn elephant right now.
Like, I can't. Like, it's one of these things that like, and we're over here going like, hey, motherfucker, you have to make money. All the people. I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're sitting around like I don't understand. I don't know what it is because like I think it's because money doesn't really tell you what you are. Elon, who is a piece of shit on capitalism.
Yes.
And his family hates him. He's fucking weird. Like
he's a drug addict.
He's a drug addict. This is the thing though. Like his psychology is very like, if I have this, then I'm cool. You know, and it's like, no, honey, you've won all the thing. You won the thing, and you go to space. Great. You shot your rocket dick into the sky. Cool, man. Now, you know, there's only so many things you can hit. You know, and I think that's what's really sad is because you could do something good because you can't take it with you. And honestly, it just shows to me that you're just an asshole. So, and you'll align with assholes and you promote assholes and you want to control everything because I don't know, you weren't hugged enough as a kid.
Man, listen, like when I think of Elon, I think of like that cartoon from back in the day from Pinky and the Brain. And remember when, like, you know, Pinky used to go to the Brain and say, hey, Brain, what are we going to do tonight? And then Brain goes, the same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world. I mean, like, I look at Elon as an amalgamation of Pinky and the Brain. Seriously. And you know, and I mean, just going back to the topic at hand, I mean, like, this is something that should be a thing that disgusts all of us. This is, you know, this is the reason why Les Miserables did so well when it was on Broadway. Okay. I mean, because it was a story about, yes, great. Music is
very
awesome.
French. My mom loved it. And I was like, cool. So we went to go see my dad used to take us to touring Broadway shows when I was a kid.
Yeah, my mom did that too. Like, I mean, like, you know, I remember just being so excited when I saw Cats. But okay, I ain't gonna go there. Regardless, but I mean, like, but the thing is that it has to be, and I am a huge fan of grassroots activism. And even when I was, you know, conceiving my channel and I was talking to Infidel 64 about it, who happens to be my producer on my live shows, shout out to Infidel. I was like, you know what? You mean? yes. Shout out.
Our both of our D&D characters together have like a low key rival.
Right. I will take your word for it because I do not play D&D. But but I almost feel like I
Okay, all
should
right.
because I'm a
Well,
nerd and I'm an
but I know
atheist.
some
But
boring shit, I can tell you.
well, I mean, like, I almost.
As a game you play with my nephew, he's like 3 years old, and
Mhm.
his parents bring him over to our house when we play D&D because they were bringing him to her mother's house, but then they wanted him to go to church and saying some
Oh,
bad stuff. And I said, no. I'm like, you're gonna bring him here, we'll be fine.
yes.
And he calls the dice math rocks.
Hilarious. I love it.
So every time I look at dice, I'm like, math rocks.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I remember my son told me the other day, I don't want to go to church. I said, neither do I. But anyway, that's what we had that in common. Case closed. What else you want to argue about?
Even the people that are there don't want to go to church.
I don't want to go to church either. Like, you preach to the choir, my brother. But yeah, I mean, but like, just going back to the topic, like, like this is the type of stuff that's disturbs you. But regardless, so when I was talking, when we
So
were
you're
kind
saying, so you were conceptualizing your channel.
yes, when we were conceptualizing the channel, like one of the things that I said, like, it would be really, really cool if we could use, like, when we do live shows, to bring people on who are activated in the community and who are doing things in their community to make their community better. I mean, like, whether if it is, they're doing their nonprofits, even if they're like YouTubers, but they're creating community that way, and they help, with different resources, or even just like, creating safe spaces for people to be in, because they're, coming out of like, religious trauma or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
I talked to you about this, maybe doing like a nebula, like concept of a nebula, but for YouTubers and we can network together, and eventually maybe become a 501c3, because if there's so much equity within the community and we're connecting, like Jason's organization, I was thinking about it because I was watching Walter, I'm looking at his last name, but he like trolls like all the rallies like that. He went to, and that was the link I sent you to that gym. And I saw that from a YouTuber, and I was like, cool, and connecting communities. I'm like, that's what we need to do, and I feel like if we create a hub of progressive people, within the online content creators, and they can connect with people even within their own communities, their own states, to work to build something together.
Yes. And that also too is a way for us to spread ideology of humanism, right? And possibly even getting more people resources so that they can be more involved in like their communities, even when it comes to the political level, because all politics are local. I mean, just think about it. Like, recently, today, matter of fact, Texas was ordered by a federal judge to not use their gerrymander maps for the 2026 elections for Congress.
Wow.
They can't use. Yeah, they can't use it. And
wow.
Yeah, they shot it down. They said that their maps were unconstitutional, and I mean, because like they basically violated their own rules of redrawing the maps in the first place. So they're supposed to be redrawing the maps like during like the time where there's like census data that actually updates it, and then they draw it accordingly to where they live. So they did that already. He only did it because orange dude told him to. Abbott, Governor Hot Wheels. So it was a definite, like, shout out to the progressives. And I mean, I would even definitely say that, like, for most federal judges, except for the Supreme Court, fuck them, they have been towing the line when it comes to this administration. I mean, like, at least
interpreting the law.
Yes. All right. The federal court, the appellate courts, like they've been doing a phenomenal job with that. But but the thing about it is that unfortunately we have like a Supreme Court, because it's like the way that it's been made up, that it capitulates to their leader. Regardless of that, that is still a great thing. So hopefully it's not something I don't know if it's going to be appealed or not. If I don't know if it's going to go to the Supreme Court, knowing the people who's involved, I'm pretty sure it will. If the Supreme Court takes it up or not, I don't know. We'll see. But for right now, that's the decision, right? And the reason that they even got the decision is because they had people from the ground that was pushing them to make a decision that was more progressive for their state. And it's going to take stuff like, and I mean, like, and these is like communities. These are people who are caring about what's happening in their backyards, and to the point where it can affect from what happens in their backyards all the way to the White House, all the way to the halls of Congress, all the way to the halls of the Supreme Court. So it's important for even like all of us who happen to be in this community in our own, like, in our own like different areas, to still network with one another and also cultivate places and spaces that we can meet, that we can gather, that we can exchange ideas, that we can, be that beacon to inspire one another in order to say that we do want something better, not just for us, but for the generation that's after us, whether if you have kids or not, it doesn't matter. I mean, because like at this particular point, like I would implore any person who calls himself a humanist, if you call yourself a humanist, that means that you are for the advancement of of human beings. And what advances human beings is well-being. And what really helps well-being is to make sure that we have a society where all of us can thrive, all of us can, be able to, not only survive but thrive, and also be able to uplift one another, because we are not trying to just like cutthroat everybody so that we can get so I can get another dollar over you, right? And unfortunately, this is the type of society that we're living in, and that's why I just think like it's so important for a lot of us to be able to really, even though like when I think about like, you call yourself atheist, it's only an answer of one question. It doesn't really like mean like where you lie on the spectrum.
I'm over that now.
Yeah, I really am. Care, I mean, like,
I don't care. I'm like, no, I do not care. I'm like, no, we have bigger fish to fry. We can talk philosophically later.
Right. I say yes. Well, that's a fallacy of the God.
Well, the thing is, though, it doesn't really work, though. No, it doesn't really work, though.
Listen, we have been,
because, like, yes, you're introduced to the idea, but the entanglement comes on its own. People just start planting seeds, and then you're like, "Fuck," and. Some of it inspires you to help other people, and sometimes it inspires you to be like, "Hey, I'm an atheist, but also I'm still a chauvinistic dickhead." Yeah, just depends.
Yeah, I mean, but even if we just look at that, that the stance of atheism, it's just a position. That's it. It doesn't mean that you care about people. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you want the well-being for others. It doesn't mean that you are, are a person who even, decides to like speak up when you see injustice and wrongdoing. It doesn't mean any of that, right? We have to. I'm at the point where I'm atheist I am a person. I don't believe in God, but I do believe in humanity being better than what it is right now. And I believe that we can do that if we work together to make that happen.
Thank you, Ryan.
Love it. I love it. Yes.
Yes. I saw that. I was like, fuck, all right.
If I could give you a fire emoji for that one right now, I would, but yeah, so like conceptualizing like this whole like channel where we can highlight people that's doing the work on the ground, that we can send people to them and say like, hey, this is happening in your backyard. You need to be a part of that.
Right.
And then, helping people grow those communities, that it could, lead into something where they say, hey, let's take up an issue. Let's one day, let's do a meetup at our town hall. Right. Let's like, there's something that's going on within our area where this like really fucked up bill is coming into a vote, in our state government. Let's get a letter writing campaign together. Hey, and I even done this with like, with a past, I I didn't do it, but like a past organization that I used to work with did this. They chartered a bus to the Capitol so that they can, knock on the doors of the representatives to give them a bill that they wanted them to, to find a person to introduce in the Illinois Congress.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's,
they were for us.
yeah, and I mean, and I mean, like, even though like that bill didn't, pass per se, but it did, but like, some of it did like garner some what do you call those relationships with the states, with some of the state senators, where they would talk to us and they would talk about, okay, these are things that's coming up, how can we make this better? And we were actually able to say, like, hey, this particular bill on healthcare, or this particular, language that you have on there, it should say blah, blah, blah. And, we were even able to get language put into the healthcare portion of a bill that passed a few years back, where the governor declared gun violence or violence as a public health crisis. So, people who are not only experiencing, adverse
to me.
Yes, right, and it's not just it's guns, right? Gun violence, IPV, that's interpartner violence, by the way. People, I'm sorry, we social workers have a tendency to like speak in like, in our own jargon. Sorry, but right, we really do, and we love our acronyms, I tell you. But yeah, I mean, like, like, even like when it comes to food scarcity, that's considered violence. That when it comes to housing scarcity, that's considered violence. Homelessness or endangerment of being a homelessness is considered violence. So the state is appropriating money to combat these particular issues, and the reason that it is because you have some people who happen to be on the ground to say, hey, let's get this changed, and that is progressive,
right? Right, and that's true. Because it, like, from my perspective, I feel like everybody's constantly shooting themselves in the foot. Like, and everybody has a narrative, because like one of my, like, when I watch Chris Hansen take down pedophiles on his channel, very entertaining.
I love that. Oh my God.
One of the people he talks to says, everybody is going through a struggle. Everybody has a battle you know nothing about. And that's the framing. That's because I don't know.
Right.
Because I only know what's going on in my own brain, in my own life. And I think if people took more of that perspective on and thought about it for 2 seconds, going, fuck, maybe I can do better, so I can lessen that burden with whatever way I can, like the fundraiser we did for, Kyle and
for Ember
and for Sadie. Yeah, for Sadie, because I was just like, I can do something to help. I'm like, I can't do a lot, but I know enough people in this community, AJ and Wes, and I was like, I'm gonna pull people together and be like, hey, let's help our friends.
Yeah.
And like Kyle told me that he's no longer in the red and he was able to get a bunch of groceries for the month. Like that shit. Like that, that's what you do, because I don't want to see people suffer. It sucks.
Right. It doesn't have to, and that does not have to be a thing. And that's the thing, like, I mean, like, I got into social work is because I hated looking at people suffering for no reason whatsoever. Right. I mean, like, yes, there's a reason, but the reason is stupid, right? And if we can do that as just like a small enclave in our own, area, a bunch of us who, came together, who has content, who works in, our various organizations, to raise money for people who are really hurting right now. Just imagine if we can also take that energy and, like, turn it into, creating communities so that we can make our backyards better. Right. What if that's the type of stuff that I just think about. I mean, like, and that's why, I wanted to do a political show. I wanted to talk about politics. I wanted to be able to talk about those things without a bit being on my tongue, right? Without,
Right.
well, you can do this, but you can't say that. You can say this, but you can't say that. I like, no, fuck all that. I need to be able
Don't
to,
censor me. I don't
right,
like being censored.
right, exactly. I need to be
Feel
free,
free to
God damn
be
it. I
fine.
must be free. Give us free. I need that,
Like, let
So,
me see let me use words that I
right.
think.
Right. I need these
You know,
words that I conceive out of my head into my mouth, out of to the people. That's what I need to do.
right,
You know,
exactly.
right. I need to do that. And the reason that I need to do that is because I mean, it's not necessarily because like, oh, I have the best words. No, I am not 45, now 47. I am just seeing what I see, and I love you too. And I need to, it needs to be discussed, like, especially when we talk
Right.
about, like, politics and the intersectionality of religion, and how a lot of
Right.
times for centuries, how that has, like, how religion and politics have, like, gone hand in hand. And oftentimes when it has been at the detriment of people who happen to be within those enclaves, not for the better.
Exactly.
You know,
Right.
I mean, like, think about, like, how much power the Catholic Church had, still does, not as much, but still does, in order for them to be able to not only get away with SA for so many years, but also
Right.
be able to influence the laws that have happened within their purview. They can go to the king and the council and be like, Pope Leo the 15th told me to tell you that you need to do this because God, and
Right.
they was like, oh, well, I don't want to fuck with the Pope, like, if God said, right? So, and they would do that. They said, but that means that
It's so
we have to divert all these resources to the church, and we have to take it away from the coffers of the people who was actually growing food. Yes, we know, but God. Oh, okay.
no, like I found out that like Michelangelo made $500,000 for painting the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah. A lot
That's
of
insane to me because
a,
I never really thought about it. I was because like it's so far removed for me,
I mean,
And I'm
but
like,
even if
that's some
you
fucking money from the church to pay you.
it
Holy shit, my
well,
dude!
artisans and musicians, why do you think that there's so much sacred music?
Right,
Like there's so many, like, I remember, like, when I was, like, in college, and, like, I was part of our, unity choirs and stuff like that.
right.
Like, when we were doing, like, our SATB, that, for those of you who don't know, that's soprano, alto, tenor, and bass, uh choral music, the majority of the choral music was, like, stuff that was written for the church. It was
Right.
stuff that was, like, sacred music, because at that particular time, if you were an artist, if you were a musician, etc., etc., there's either the church or the Medici family hired you.
That's true.
And in actuality, and the Medici's were, like, highly entangled with the Roman Catholic Church.
Mhm.
So, like, if you wanted to have a body of work where it was supported, like, like, hey, you had to kiss the ring of the Pope, literally. No, I didn't go to a Catholic university. I did go to a Catholic grammar school, and I did go to a Catholic high school. I went to my first university was public, but I switched to a private university that was ran by Presbyterians. Go
Why'd
figure
you
that out.
switch?
But I switched. Yeah. Why I switched? Oh, the music program at the other place was better.
Oh,
So
okay, cool.
yeah. So, but it was
I
more
mean,
expensive.
I did grammar school. I did grammar school to seventh. I went to Catholic school all the way to seventh grade, and then my parents transferred me to public school in eighth grade because they wanted me to have a cushion when I got into high school. Did not plan that well. It was not. I was. Listen. I'm an odd ADHD person, and I'm going through hormones, and I'm fat, and I was like a wicked nerd. And like my parents did not think this through because here you go, junior high school, 14 years old, do your best.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, but even going back to that, like on Jer about Catholic University, like even though I didn't go to Catholic University, still like because I was in the music program, that the body of our of the work that we did as far as like performance was sacred music. I mean, like I think like the thing that I really got off on, bad choice of words, but whatever, was when we did Leonard Bernstein's Chichester Psalms that was written in Hebrew. Look it up. It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
But but that was like the body of music. I mean, even Carmina Burana was like mostly written in Latin and has like sacred text as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that has nothing to do with progressive politics, but now you
Well,
have a fun fact about Cynthia.
like and then like I was in and out of school for my 20s and 30s. I also with the being undiagnosed to do with my life. I did that really did a good job with that. But like I struggled for a long time. This is the first time in my life I feel a little safer. Things are kind of settled.
Yeah,
It's still hard.
Yeah, it took time.
But
it took time.
yeah.
Well, it's kind of like with the project that we do with the Freedom from Religion Foundation doing the Godless Gospel. There's a song that Dan Barker, shout out to Dan, where he wrote a song called Life is Good. And it's really basically about when he was able to get rid of all the religious pretext that basically ruled his life. Then he found peace because no wonder we're worried about going to hell and or what they're going to say about me if I don't show up to church this week, or
Right.
oh my goodness, I only tithe 9% instead of 10% this week, I'm going to be fucked,
Right.
like I mean, like all
Right.
that, all the stuff that like I know I worried about when I was in religion, and that no longer is a thing. And even though like I would definitely say like of course like life in of itself is not anywhere near perfect, but I know I feel a little bit more settled now than I did when I was in Christendom, because
Right.
a lot of those different things that I was concerned about is no longer a concern. Now I can put my attentions
Right.
elsewhere.
And I think right. And I think that's because like if you think that you're the reason why you are living because of a god, every single thing you do has to reflect that,
Mm-hmm.
and there's people that are lapsed and like believe, like my mom is Catholic, love my mom to pieces. She ain't gonna change. She's 93.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But she's a sweet potato. Like she would love you. Like I'd be like, this is my friend Cynthia. My mom would love you. Yeah, that's my mom.
Yeah. Same.
Doesn't matter. But I feel like, I was going somewhere with that. I lost it.
It's okay.
I was going to go to somewhere. I completely forgot where I was.
Well,
Moving on.
I'll take that. I'll take what you just said and put it in this way to kind of tie back to the original topic.
Okay.
That, my mom is like that too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she is gonna, regardless, even though like she will have her issues with God, but trust Sunday morning, if she's feeling like it, I would get woke. I would get that whole jug. You gotta take me to church. Like, God damn it. And I said, did you know that your church starts at 9:00 in the morning, lady? Yes, I know. Get up. God damn. Shit. But regardless of that, but like there's still like a thought of, even though yes, I've gone to church, this is kind of what I do. I've been doing it for like the past like 70 something years of my life, right? But there's still other things in life that I look at and say that needs to change. that needs to be
Right.
different. And even like for me, being a person who is not a believer, she still embraces me just because I'm her kid, right? And
Right.
and I mean, and even to say that is to look at our communities and say that, hey, even though, like, yes, we have built like secular, or like, building secular communities, but we're also humanists. And also, fun fact on Jared, that you want to add to that compiled book that you were doing about fun facts about Cynthia, is that you don't have to be an you don't have to be an atheist to be a humanist. you know, I can't wait to read. I can't wait to read that book. I think part of it will be you're back in the day. Say, listen a lot.
We'll be at a
Listen.
con, like you do just bring it to a conference and just read it, like
Yeah,
we're all
I
together
absolutely
for story
right.
time.
Right, story time, fun facts about Cynthia that Aunt Jer has compiled, over the years. A lot. Majority of it will be me saying, "Listen, Listen," and drinking wine. Trust, that is like the whole
Right.
thing, right? But just going back to what I said, like, you don't have to be an atheist to be a humanist. Like, you can still be religious. You can still be a Christian and be a humanist. You can be a Muslim and be a humanist. You can be Hindu and be a humanist. You can be a Buddhist and be a humanist. Like, that
Oh
is
my
not.
God.
Love it.
Just
Love
getting it
it.
out of
Love
focus.
it. Love it. Love it. But yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
but like, so like, my thing is like, now when we are
Mhm.
having like these conversations about being more progressive in our politics and like creating communities that we can, like, activate people, that we can possibly even work across the aisles with people who happen to be in the church, who happen to be in the mosque, who happens to be in the temples, and say that we can come together on certain issues because it's going to be for the well-being of us all. I mean,
And
I
it
know
has to
that.
be that way.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think because like I think there's and also too like what I was thinking with like doing a hub is like and I said this to Mandiza and I was like, well, listen, I go, for example, if we were going to add like a black person to the hub, we would ask the people that are a part of the community that are black to review that content to tell us, go, no or yes, or we have to refine this, or whatever, because like like there's a bunch of nuances in a whole bunch of different communities that I don't know about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So fly right over my head.
Right. I mean, like, well, part of those, creating those hubs and those communities where there's like, intersectionality,
Yeah.
crossing, racial lines, crossing gender lines, crossing,
Mm.
sexual orientation, gender identification, yada yada yada, is being able to be willing to learn,
Right.
because there's going to be nuances of culture that, are going to be part of that person's makeup that's
Hmm.
outside of the secularism, right?
Right.
And and then that way you can kind of be like, okay, well, this is something that we were looking to do, but the last thing that I want to do is other your community. I can even
Hmm.
remember when I first got into social work, I worked at a clinic that was started by a gay man. And
Hmm.
the reason why he started the clinic is because gay people could not get health treated at the hospitals at that time period in the 70s. So his thing was hush, Kelly. I love you too, Kelly. But
So you're gonna do the forward.
right, you can write the
But
forward, Kelly. There you
but
go.
that's yeah, you can do the
Right,
forward.
right. You're part of that hubby by the by girlfriend. You already know. But yeah, it was about like, okay, let us create a clinic so that we can bring in healthcare professionals to treat gay people, because gay people can't get treated at the hospital, or they
Right.
have to lie. You know what I'm saying? They can, and then it got to the point where it was, a clinic that worked with other premier hospitals throughout this, the Chicago area,
Mm-mm.
worked across with other, LGBTQIA plus like organizations, especially that dealt with health, and became a hub to be teachers to people who
Mm-hmm.
happen to be outside of that community, so that we can learn about people who happen to be there, that I know that I did not know. I mean, like, the first thing that we did at orientation was have a whole deep dive about being, about transgender people, and
Right.
and how trans people exist, and even when it came to, like, treating transgender people medically and behaviorally, right? A lot of stuff I did not
Right.
know. And it really, like, opened my eyes to things that I remember being told as a Christian about transgender people, and then having to unlearn all of those things when I'm in an environment where I can be taught, right? So
Right.
it made me more aware of, transgender people, and the things that they need specifically, and also to be an ally to push issues that affect them, so that they
Mm-hmm.
can live and they can thrive and survive. And it's like the thing that I see, even as an interjecting source when it comes to that, is that when you look at trans people, when you look at gay people, when you look at lesbians, when you look at
Mm-hmm.
asexual people, when you look at people, period,
Mm-hmm.
people want rights,
Right.
they want
Mm-hmm.
dignities, and they want respect. And
Mm-hmm.
all of us have the ability to do that, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what community you happen to be in, or even what identity you happen to fall into, right? Because
Right.
I ca- I don't have to necessarily do like a whole mental contortion just to ask a person what their preferred pronouns are, or
Right. Mm-hmm.
or to ask, or to be mindful, like when I talk to a black person and they have an aversion against doctors, and be aware of the adverse effects that we have, absorbed as people in the healthcare system, making
Mm-hmm.
myself, even like stuff that I didn't even know growing up, until like I actually made myself more available to learn about these things, like medical apartheid, and
Right.
even like the slave women being experimented on by Marion Sims, and that's how who is considered the father of modern gynecology, and
Right.
and
Yeah.
now, and like, and what happened with the Tuskegee experiment, that that was
Mm-hmm.
like a 50-year project between like the 30s up until like the 1970s, just really just like diving into like the norms of people, and maybe why they would be mistrusting of certain institutions because of what that community has absorbed over the years. And I think
Right.
that's something that we should make ourselves available to. And I know for me specifically, that is the thing that drives me when I want to make myself more involved in,
Right.
in being more progressive, because I've learned about the things that have happened adversely to marginalized communities, and now I want to lend my voice to make stuff better.
Mm. Right. And I think that's the thing that I and also too, like, from that humanist perspective, is that, like, I only got so much time. And that when you have that sort of, like, I'm kind of like, this is it. Okay, cool. I get a ride. It's gonna be nice. um you want other people to enjoy their ride
Yeah.
and not have a life of suffering,
Right.
and whatever that looks like, it has to be up to them. But you can just start with maybe, doing the basics. And the more you see that, the more that it's attractive,
Hmm.
because that's the thing, is that, like, the mother, those, like, Elon needs some type of people to keep doing what he's doing, and it's just
Yeah.
one of those things like, well, we're done. We're kind of done with you. And the
Yeah.
only way we change that is like, in these areas that you intersect, like there are people on the right, they're so close. They're so close to getting it, and you just got to push them a little bit, be like,
Right.
no, it's better if we do it. Like all
Right.
together.
Right. Right. You almost there, girl. You almost
You're
there.
almost there.
Almost there. But yeah, I mean, but like, and that's the thing, like, I mean, like, I even look at, like, I know that, like, the whole conversation around, like, the new leaf that Marjorie Taylor Greene is, like, turning right now. And everybody's asking, like, well, how much you can trust her. And I'm like, at this particular moment, that's not the question to ask.
Right.
The question to ask is, how can you take her new leaf and use it to create policy that would be better for the American people?
Exactly.
I mean, that's the part that we need to be having a discussion about. I mean, and if we can get more people who say, well, I'm on her side, and they start to actually make changes and start to rethink some of the things that they have about the rhetoric that they have been fed, then yeah, we can possibly push them over the edge and be like, oh, okay, I can see why progressive policies work better than right-wing bullshit. Like, yeah.
Right.
I look at
Right.
looking at all
Like,
of
at
you
the
all
end of the day,
who, yeah, I'm gonna be like, look at all y'all people who actually voted
like
for this
I'm like,
dude, and
I
you
always say,
losing
I'm
your
like,
health care,
everybody
you
gets
losing,
pie.
yeah.
Everybody's gonna get pie. Every single person gets pie.
I
Whatever that pie
personally,
is, but you get pie.
I want apple pie with strudel on top of it.
Yeah.
A la
Very
mode.
simple.
A la mode.
I want blueberry pie.
Cool.
Yeah, I love some blueberry pie. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
And there's so like the thing is though, everybody gets it.
Right. You get the pie you
Right?
won't. Is basically what I'm
Right.
saying.
But like if you keep hoarding all the pies, then the other people are gonna be like, hey man, I want some pie.
Right.
It's bad.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's why we have a democracy.
Right.
But
Exactly.
but the thing is that y'all lost your way because the democracy is made of a people, and people suck. So you
people yes, people suck, but there's a such thing that's called, like, popularism and pluralism.
Right.
And when it comes to a lot of these kitchen table items,
Yeah,
we actually agree more than we disagree.
Right.
We really do. But the thing about it is that we also have, those capitalistic monsters that makes us ignore the kitchen table items and scapegoats to other
You're
people.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
that scapegoats, to other, groups of people and other things to say, oh no, they're your problem, not us. Don't pay attention to the green curtain that's behind you. Don't look at that man that's behind that green curtain.
Right.
And actually that's been the problem of America since, the fucking Virginia Burgess, the House of Burgess government was set up back in the 1600s.
Right.
This is the problem, because, like, we want to keep the rich, and we want to keep the people who are not necessarily in our class where they are, to keep us rich. And that is
right, because there has to be hierarchy. How do we know who's best?
Right.
And it's like, it's like, how do we know? And then like that we decide this thing.
Right.
And I'm over here going like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right. And
like,
and they know it's not necessarily good for well-being, but they don't care, because somebody got to let me ride that elephant.
Right.
With the lobster plates all around me. Like, this is something that I want. And I'm just like, no, leave that. You riding the elephant is cruel. Leave that elephant alone.
Exactly. Like, well, and like the thing is though, it's like, rich people in India, they used to run, like, to punish prisoners, they used to run them over with like elephants, depending on what type of criminal they were, because this guy thought it was fun. And I'm like, you have a sociopath as a leader.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And that's where we're sitting. I'm like, this isn't a good place to be. Like, I don't like this. I don't like this timeline. You're fucking up my 4 things. I have 4 things in life. drink wine,
Yes. Number
hang out
one.
with my friends,
Number two.
play video games, and
Number
have
three.
orgasms. Those
Number four.
4 things.
Right.
Don't fuck that up.
Right. And I need to have a decent bank account to make all that happen, especially when it comes to
Exactly.
wine.
So we decided that this is the rules. We all got to play fairly.
Fairly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Very exactly. Well, Helen, I love having this conversation, but I do have a little kid, so.
I know, and I have a grilled cheese and squash soup waiting for me. So
Okay,
I'm gonna
yes, that's
go put that.
important.
I'm gonna put that into my face hole. So tell people where they can find you, and anything you have coming up soon. And so like what's going on in your sphere, dear?
So yes, people can find me on I'm still doing my show at the Roots Matter, and that if you type into, and I'm pretty sure that I've seen like a few people put in the chat my channel. Matter of fact, I have another video that's coming out tomorrow that talked about the blue tsunami with our lovely friends AJ and Jason, and because they were my guests, my first guest that I did with the live. I'm doing another live actually this coming Sunday at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And that's going to be with Mandisa Thomas, and we're going to be talking about protest songs. So that should be cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, and also I'm still running our little group that's here in Chicago. We're doing a meetup at the end of the month on the November 30th. We're going to be going to the Lawn Breakfast Bar. So like if you're in Chicago, and if you go to meetup and just put in like Chi-Town, Black Non-Believers Chi-Town, and if you're in Chicagoland area, if you want to meet us there, please do. All are welcome. I know that we were actually talking about doing something else, but like one of the members actually brought that particular restaurant to me, and they had me at Grits Flight. Okay, they have a flight of grits, like you can get like shrimp and grits, fish and grits, bacon and grits, like whatever type of grits you want. Like I was like, what is this concoction that you are telling me right now? I must try. So I was like,
I love you.
What we was about to do. We're doing the goddamn grits flight. How about that? So yeah.
All right, if I ever come to Chicago and visit you, you have to take me, because if you're gonna talk this shit up.
Yes. Yes, we'll do brunch, grits flight, and it's BYOB.
We'll do a brunch.
Bring our wine as well. Too.
Like, okay, yep. That's all right. Yep. It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen sometime. I've goals.
Yes.
That includes me. That includes what's in my 4 things.
Indeed. I mean, like, and I mean, like, I like, I'm not opposed to going to Florida, Helen, but you already know this. I'm gonna let that go. Okay. DeSantis. Bad guy. Okay,
all right, we're not going to talk. We'll fall down. I'm going to go eat.
Yes,
we're not going to talk about DeSantis.
Yes, let's not do that.
He is a bad elf. He's a bad elf. So he's very naughty, not in a fun way.
Right. You are not getting Christmas gifts from Santa. Not a good time. Sir. Not at all.
No, you're not. So anyway, well, I'm going to say goodnight. Matthew, one of my friends from Recovering from Religion, is supposed to be here on Thursday. I'm still waiting for a headshot and a title, and so once that is done, I'll get it up on the internet. So that would be this Thursday at 7. So and then whatever happens next week, because tomorrow I go to the doctor to find out what's going on with my fibroid. Oh my god, I want it out. I hate it. I hate my life right now. It's so painful. So I'm just over it. I just want, I'm so scared of my next menstrual cycle because the last one was so bad. So I have to go see the doctor tomorrow.
I'm giving you internet
hugs.
Drugs. I'm giving you internet hugs now because I've had plenty of my girlfriends that have suffered from fibroids. Yeah. I feel your pain, girlfriend. I really.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Mm-hmm. All right. So anyway, I'll be here Thursday probably, and then after that, I'll keep you updated. So if you want to be on the show or know someone, you can email me here, or if you're on my friends list, just slide into my DMs. So that is it. Everybody have a wonderful night, and stay be kind, stay skeptical, and give someone a compliment. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.